Here's the truth. Some of the best self-storage deals aren't on LoopNet or Crexi or on any broker's list. They are hiding in plain sight, sitting behind a chain link fence, somewhere on a back road, buried in a wholesaler's inbox, or even tucked inside a Facebook post that most people literally just scroll right past. In fact, a really good friend of mine bought an incredible facility that had been sitting in a Facebook group for months and months and months until he decided to pick up the phone, have a conversation, and ended up getting an amazing deal because he made an offer, even though it was below market value. So today I'm going to share with you 3 overlooked strategies that can lead you directly to off-market storage deals. And that specifically, we're going to be talking about driving for dollars, working with wholesalers, and leveraging storage Facebook groups. These are the same strategies that my Storage Wins coaching clients are using to buy their first and in some cases their next storage facilities. And this is actually the second part of a series of talks I'm doing on the 16 ways to find off-market storage deals. If you didn't watch the last episode, I encourage you to check it out because I talked about a ninja strategy called the rent gap sniper method. We talked about cold calling, and we talked about just how you can find hidden gems on good old Google Maps. Now, if you don't know who I am, my name is Alex Pardo. I am a self-storage owner, operator, and I run the best community when it comes to learning how to buy, find, fund, buy, and operate your first storage facility called Storage Wins. And so with that being said, let's go ahead and dive right into it. Now, driving for dollars. If you come from the single family world of real estate, if you've been a wholesaler, fix and flipper, landlord, you've likely heard of driving for dollars. And one of the things I always share with people when I speak on stages or virtually, that the skill sets that real estate investors in single family develop and acquire throughout the years translate over into storage. That is one of the things I wish I knew when I transitioned from wholesaling into storage about 5 years ago. And driving for dollars is tried and true. It is a strategy that you can do, you can have others do for you. In fact, we leverage a tool called Deal Machine, and we have a special deal with Deal Machine. If you guys go to storagewins.com/deal machine. You can learn about that. The link is in the show notes. But when when my family and I go to Georgia or North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, we usually go during the holidays. We take a road trip, and my daughters and my wife, like my family, everybody is trained to look for mom and pop storage facilities, right? So think about those concrete Caterpillar buildings that have just a bunch of metal roll-up doors. And literally all you have to do when you're driving for dollars is there's a couple different approaches. Take a picture of the sign and make sure the phone number is there with the area code or the website so that you can literally pick up the phone, smile, and dial, which was one of the strategies we covered on the last episode. But what I really like to do when possible is stop in and meet the owner or meet the person in the office. When you are able to stop in and put a face to the name, literally shake their hand, oftentimes what I find is that they're proud of their facility and they want to walk you through it. And as they're walking you through the facility, you can strike up a conversation, start to build a relationship. I know several people that have bought a storage facility because they literally decided to stop in for 15, 20 minutes, meet the owner, walk around the facility, have a conversation, and because they knew, like, and trusted them, because they built a relationship face to face, it separated them from everybody else that was calling or sending a direct mail or reaching brokers that were reaching out. So when you have the opportunity to drive for dollars, make it a point to stop in and meet the owner. That could be the difference between you getting that deal and not getting the deal. Now, one of the things that I like to look for are just distressed, mismanaged facilities, right? You can tell when the sign is faded, it doesn't have good curb appeal. Sometimes you see like the phone number on the sign that's literally ripped off or peeling off. You see like handwritten phone numbers. One of the things that I think is a classic telltale sign of like a mom and pop operator that's not very sophisticated is when they have their rates literally printed on a sign. Now, let me kind of zoom out and give you a little bit of insight and perspective here. Revenue rate management in storage as an operator is extremely important. We are looking at rates sometimes on a weekly basis, if not monthly basis. And so think about the mindset of an owner who will literally print literally print their rates on a sign. Like it's embedded, almost like if you're going into a restaurant and like, hey, here's the menu. And so whenever I see that, I know that like, hey, that's an unsophisticated mom and pop operator. When I'm driving, if I'm not driving, obviously, I would like to look it up on Google and see, hey, do they have a website? Do they have a Google My Business listing? What do their reviews look like? So this is the one of the strategies that one of my coaching clients did, Casey. And he has actually bought 3 storage facilities. He bought 3 storage facilities in 11 months, all driving for dollars. Now, one of the things Casey did is he took alternative routes. So he likes to go hunting a lot. And so he and his friends, or he and his wife, would go on these road trips, and they would be on the lookout for storage facilities. And they did that very thing. They would stop in, try to meet the owner. If the owner wasn't there, they'd call the phone number on the sign and just start building a relationship and just inquire and see, hey, what are your plans for the facility? How'd you even get into this business? You know, just asking open-ended questions, getting them to do more of the talking. That's one of the things we talked about in the last episode. And meeting people face-to-face whenever possible, because personal connection is powerful. Now, these 3 storage facilities he bought, all driving for dollars, all seller financed. He did not have to go to a bank and get a loan. He structured seller financing, which is one of my favorite ways to get any type of deal, storage, real estate, or otherwise. Seller financing and creative financing is a super, super powerful strategy. So let's actually move on to the next one, the second of this episode, and I believe the 5th of this series of talks, which is working with wholesalers. Now, this can be its own season, right? That's how in-depth I think this topic can go. Now, for perspective, I wholesaled real estate, specifically single family, for 14 years. Did north of 750 real estate deals. The majority of those were wholesale. I've wholesaled several storage facilities. So not only have I bought, operated, and sold storage facilities, but I've also wholesaled several storage facilities. In fact, we wholesaled one earlier this year, and it was a $50,000 profit that we made on that. I wholesaled one back in late 2023. That was a $150,000 profit. My very first storage deal that I ever did with 2 friends that we partnered up with, it was a $99,000 wholesale fee that was split 3 ways. And we ended up also keeping some equity in that deal, which we still own today. So it is possible that when you find these deals, if you plan to wholesale them, you can have your cake and eat it too, in terms of a fee and equity. But I want to talk about the reverse. I want to talk about if you are interested in buying deals for wholesalers. I think first it's important to understand the mindset of a wholesaler. Keep in mind that they spend oftentimes a lot of time, energy, and money to generate leads, have conversations with storage owners, I should say, because again, like I said in the last episode, conversations lead to conversions, conversions lead to contracts, which ultimately lead to cash. These wholesalers are speaking to a lot of storage owners, and many times these wholesalers don't fully understand what it takes to own, manage, and operate storage, because that is their primary business model. They're in the business of generating leads, tying up deals, and then wholesaling them for nice, substantial profits. So you can pick up great deals that either they don't want or they don't know how to evaluate. A couple of things that I want to share with you that I think are best practices in terms of working with wholesalers is when you see wholesalers, like for example, and we're going to talk about this in a moment, but like when you see wholesalers post deals online, and it could be a Facebook group or some type of forum, don't just drop your email in that post, right? Because that's very impersonal. That's what everybody else is doing. You want to stand out from the competition. And I think this is just a general mindset framework, rule of thumb that you want to follow. Like if people are zigging, you want to zag. So send that, if it's in Facebook, send that person a direct message with your contact info. If you really want to take it a step further, which is what I do, is I like to record like a short selfie video, and I'll say like, hey John, man, it's great to connect with you. I saw your wholesale deal posted in the Storage Wins Facebook group. Brother, I have a few questions. I want to connect with you. I want to build a relationship. I want to add value to you and your business. Here's my number. I'm available between 1 and 4 today, or tomorrow between 9 and 12. Let me know if we can schedule a call, or you could just text me or call me at this number. Look forward to building a relationship and growing together. Have a great one. So boom, I literally shot that from the hip, right? There was no thought to that, but I was just myself. It's the way I communicate. I send the video. Why? Most people aren't going to do that. Most people are just going to drop their email in the post, and that's it. And then wait for them to get back to them. Where I'm being proactive and I'm seeking to build a relationship, I'm planting some seeds that, hey, like I'm thinking long-term here. Yes, I'm interested in the deal that you have, but I want to add value. I want to contribute. I want to potentially bring you buyers. Or if it doesn't work for me, like maybe we have somebody inside of our Storage Wins coaching community or Storage Wins Facebook group where this could be a deal. And I'm always seeking to be a connector. That is one of the best ways you can add value, is when you can introduce people, connect people. Just be a connector, whether it comes naturally to you or not, because first of all, it feels good. It's cool to connect good people. And it's also a great way to add value. All right. So the other thing I want you to do is be crystal clear with your buy box, right? What kind of deal are you looking for? What market? Just be the more specific you can get about your storage avatar or your deal buy box, the more they're going to think of you. The very first deal that I closed to own and operate, which you may have heard this story before, 43,000 square foot facility in Mississippi, came from a wholesaler because I had shared with him my buy box and exactly what I was looking for. He knew it. When he saw it, he immediately thought of me before he could have sent it to any other number of people, because he's very well known. And I ended up buying that deal. And it was because I was clear in my buy box. I communicated it to him. And he also knew that I was going to do what I said I was going to do. I wasn't just going to tie up the property and then bail on the deal. All right. So communicate with confidence. Make sure that you establish yourself as somebody who follows through and does what they say they're going to do. Follow up consistently. Be the first person they think of when they get a storage deal, because you're proven as somebody who can perform or has performed for them. And look, this is exactly, I'll share with you a personal story, and it happened just months ago. So I have two coaching clients inside of Storage Wins. Both within the last 4 or 5 months have bought their first storage facility. And it came from another Storage Wins community member that the deal didn't fit what they were looking for. So they decided to wholesale it. Now, one of the benefits of being a part of our community, our coaching community, is that deals come in here first before they hit any storage Facebook group or before they're made available to anybody else. And one of our members, who's very experienced, got these deals, but he hadn't really worked with these other two coaching clients. But because they started to build a relationship, they communicated with confidence. They said, hey, I'm confident, I want to move forward. They showed, I've done my homework, I underwrote the deal, I've been in contact with banks. That gave the wholesaler inside of our community confidence in how they operated and how the communication went. So it's super, super important that when you communicate with wholesalers, be easy to work with. Communicate clearly, effectively, confidently, follow up, continue to build a relationship, have the mindset where you're thinking long-term, not short-term, and that can make all the difference in the world. Relationships matter. Don't just take. And if for whatever reason the deal doesn't work for you, communicate with them. Let them know why the deal doesn't work. And don't be afraid to make a significantly lower offer. I think a lot of it is in how you frame it and how it's communicated, not necessarily what is said. In other words, if I get a deal from a wholesaler and I just call him, let's say the wholesaler's asking $900,000, okay? And I just call the wholesaler and I'm like, hey man, I'm coming in at $400,000. Or hey, I just sent you an email, I got an offer for $400,000. And that's it, you just drop it like cold turkey, like wham bam type of approach. It's like, well, you didn't set it up. Like there was no context, the wholesaler doesn't really have a frame for why you're coming in that low. Versus if you take the approach and you say, hey, John, listen, man, I appreciate you thinking about me and sending me this opportunity. I spent a lot of time looking at it, looked at the market, looked at the competition. I underwrote the deal. I'm looking at this through different lenses. I've already evaluated several options to get it funded. And listen, man, I know you guys are at 900. Believe me, I want to pay as much as I can for it. I want you to earn your wholesale fee. I know you work hard for these deals, and obviously that you have an agreement with the seller at a certain price. And I want you to make as much money as possible, but just based on my numbers and where I would need to be at, like, would it even make sense if I made an offer if it was a lot less than what you guys are asking? So I'm not using a script. I'm just communicating like from the heart, like, hey, this is what it is. But I'm framing it as a story, and there's a reason why. You know, if you read the book Influence by Robert Cialdini, I've shared this with coaching clients in the past. If you read that book, there's a section in there that, and I haven't read this book in a long time, but effectively people are like in a line at like a Kinko's or something like that, where they just make photocopies. And they did like a case study where there was a bunch of people in line, and they asked the person all the way at the end of the line to walk up to the person that's about to make photocopies and say, hey, can I get in front of you? And 100% of the time, or a very high percentage, they were rejected. No, you can't get in front of me. But then they ran the study again, and they asked the person at the end to walk to the front and say, hey, can I get in front of you? But here's the difference. Give them a reason why. Tell them why you need to get in front to make photocopies. So like as an example, hey, listen, can I just get in front of you because my daughter's in the car and I'm illegally parked? As an example. I don't know if that was the example in the book. It's probably not. But the point is, when you give people a reason why, you're more likely to get what you want because there's an understanding now versus like, hey, can I just get in line? It's like, well, no, dude, like, no, you can't get in front of me. Like, get out of here, you know? So hopefully that crystallizes the importance of communicating effectively, efficiently, following up, building a relationship, thinking long-term, not transactionally. That's something that I just live by. And so that is the reason. That is what will allow you to receive the phone call, the text, or the email from wholesalers that get deals because they think of you, because you're easy to work with. And don't be afraid to make offers. Let people know where you're coming in at, because relationships do matter. Now let's touch on storage Facebook groups. First of all, shameless plug. You absolutely need to be a part of the Storage Wins Facebook group. If you're not, you're insane. I don't know why. I'm posting in there weekly. There's conversations happening. There's people connecting. Every now and then there's deals that are being shared, and we're just continuing to inject more valuable insight, content, information in there, and more importantly, increasing engagement in the group. So there should be a link where you guys can join the Storage Wins Facebook group, or just search for Storage Wins inside of Facebook. Join that group. We'd love to have you, but you should also be a part of other storage Facebook groups, particularly the ones that are marketing deals. As with anything, like Crexi and LoopNet, you're probably gonna sift and sort and go through a lot of probably bad deals before you get to good ones, but every now and then you'll come across a good one. Just don't take everything at face value. Just because it's not a deal, ask yourself what would make it a deal. Okay, and the same thing goes for working with these wholesalers. And then here's the thing: start building a list of, and this could be on a simple Google spreadsheet, this could be inside of your CRM. Start building a list of all the wholesalers, their name, their email, their phone number. If there's any particular details on that wholesaler, if you really want to go above and beyond, like find out what's their favorite restaurant or their favorite dessert or whatever. And every now and then, like, you know, spend 20, 30, 40, 50 bucks, send them a gift, right? Or maybe it's your favorite book. You jump on Amazon, find out their address, send them a book, right? Just do things that others won't do because it's cool and it feels good. And who doesn't want to get a gift? And when they read a note and it's like, oh, wow, this person thought of me. It just takes the relationship to another level. There's a book called Giftology that I would recommend you read. And unfortunately, the author recently passed away, I think like within the last year. But great book. Read Giftology. Really good book. It'll open your eyes to the power of gift giving and what that can do for your business and just in general for relationships. Inside these storage Facebook groups, you're going to find brokers, you're going to find wholesalers, you're going to find other operators, and it's just great to build relationships. Let people know your buy box, what you're looking for. And then I'm going to kind of sneak in one more way to find is Marketplace, Facebook Marketplace. Now check this out. Go to Facebook Marketplace, type in the city or the state where you'd like to own storage or where you're looking for storage. Ideally, you're going to put in a city and state. Look for the mom and pop operators that are advertising units for rent. Now, you're likely not going to find any storage facilities for sale. And if you do, you should absolutely call, because what in the world is a storage facility doing for sale on Marketplace? Not saying it's impossible, but if you do see that, drop what you're doing and call immediately. But when you see units for rent, send them a message and say, hey, listen, I'm a storage owner, or my wife and I are looking to get into the business and buy a facility. I see that you're advertising your units for rent, but I was curious if you might consider an offer. Like, do that. You can even have virtual assistants do that on your behalf. Now, be careful. You don't want to be spamming and sending like a bunch of messages in Facebook every single day, because that can potentially like shut down your account. So be smart about it, keep it to a minimum. But that's a very easy, simple, free way to connect with these mom and pop storage owners, because I can almost assure you that in most cases, it's probably the owner that's posting that ad inside of Facebook Marketplace. It might be somebody, the office manager, but either way, if you just do that consistently, you will get in contact with storage owners. So as a recap, listen, we talked about driving for dollars and we got deep on that. We talked about wholesalers, Facebook groups, Facebook Marketplace. You don't need to deploy all these strategies, right? I mean, we're going to talk about 16 or 17 methods on how to find off-market mom and pop facilities. Focus on one or two. Get consistent, get really good before you start adding to your arsenal. The mistake that I think you can make is listening to this series of episodes and talks and say, hey, I need to do all 16. No, pick one or two that resonate with you. They all work. The question is, are you going to work and are you going to be consistent? So listen, with that being said, if you're serious about buying your very first storage facility in the next 6 to 12 months, or less, because we've had people do it in less, I'd love to help. Head over to storagewins.com. You can schedule a super short 10-minute call. On that call, we'll talk about where you are, where you want to go, and we'll ultimately see how the Storage Wins coaching community can help you and if it's the right fit to even get you there. So while you're here, make sure that you're subscribed on the YouTube channel, on the Storage Wins podcast and Apple and Spotify, so that you don't miss future episodes. Because every single week I'm sharing proven strategies, real stories to help you find, fund, and buy your first storage deal or your next one. This is Alex Pardo signing out. Have an incredible day.